The silence. That's what kills you. Not the memory. The silence. It's a poison. Slow. Cold. I was 12. Almost 13. Summer vacation. My cousin's forgotten bike needed air in the tire. The garage was hot. Smelled like cut grass and old gasoline. He was standing right there. Uncle Robert, my dad's older brother, the favorite. Tall, easy smile. The kind of man who'd hand you $1 for an ice cream. "Need a hand, sweetie?" he said. The voice was too close. His shadow fell over me. I remember the light. A single shaft of sun through the high, dirty window. It made the dust particles dance. I mumbled, "I got it." He didn't move. Then the smile was gone. The whole room tilted. It was fast, violent, confusing, a crushing weight, my small body pinned against the oily workbench. The smell of his breath, coffee and mint. Fear wasn't a thought, it was a physical thing. A fist clenching in my stomach. I tried to yell. Nothing came out. Just a raw, ragged squeak. He leaned in close. His voice was a rasp, not the easy uncle voice. This was hard, sharp. "Listen to me, Sarah girl. You tell no one. Not your mother, not your father, not your silly little friends. You say one word, and I'll make sure everyone knows you're lying. I'll make sure your father hates you for what you did to this family." What I did? I didn't know what I had done. I was just trying to pump up a tire. He let me go, just like that. Adjusted his shirt, walked out, left me shaking. The lawnmower was still running. The world hadn't stopped. Only mine had. 25 years. A lifetime sentence. I became successful. Head of global strategy, corner office, custom-made life, a fortress, because you can't let anyone close enough to see the cracks. Every relationship, poisoned, a slow, agonizing death. I'd pull away, right when they got too close, too familiar. They called me guarded, cold. They didn't know I was terrified. Terrified they'd look into my eyes and see the garage. The secret was a lead weight. Every single Christmas dinner, every birthday party, every family reunion, he was there. The beloved uncle, the funny one, the good husband. I'd stand 5 feet away, a champagne flute in my hand, forcing a smile onto a face that felt like glass. The panic attacks started when I was 20. Always the same trigger, a smell, an innocent touch, someone standing too close behind me in a line, my body remembering what my mind had forced itself to forget. I'd lock myself in a stall, fighting for air, whispering, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." A lie I told myself thousands of times. But the worst part? The guilt, the shame, the absolute terror that he might still be doing it to someone else. A niece, a nephew, a silence I was responsible for. Every single year I did nothing, I became his accomplice. My silence was his shield. I wanted to speak. God, I wanted to scream it. But the threat was always there. The fear of dissolving the only family I had. The fear of my father's face when he realized his little brother, the one he looked up to, was a monster. I was just a coward wearing a good suit. A few months ago, I was helping Mom clear the attic. I hadn't touched this box in decades. Just old junk, broken toys, faded report cards. I pulled out a photo album. The pages were sticky with age. And there it was, right in the middle. A family portrait taken on the porch that day. The day everything ended. I saw it. Not just a photo, a confession. I saw the triumphant arrogance in his eyes, the defeat in my own. The air left my lungs. My hands started shaking, violently. A 25-year-old tremor. The fear was back, but something else too. A heat, pure, blinding rage. I stumbled back against the wall, sliding down, crying. Not the silent tears I had mastered, gut-wrenching sobs. The glass fortress shattered. I was 12 again. But I wasn't helpless. I clutched the photo, crushing it. I whispered into the dust-filled silence. No more. That photo, that stupid, faded picture, it wasn't a trigger. It was the match. No more. The sound of those words, a promise, a vow. It burned away the last 25 years of cowardice. I didn't sleep that night. I walked the floors of my apartment, head of global strategy, power suits, and boardrooms. But I was shaking like that 12-year-old girl again. 3 days later, I was in Dr. Mitchell's office. I had been seeing her for 6 months for general anxiety, for the panic attacks, for the distant relationships, for the invisible lead weight. I had never told her the truth, not once. I had danced around it, called it childhood trauma, called it boundary issues. I looked at the floor, I looked at the ceiling, I looked at the small, framed photo of a beach on her desk, anywhere but her eyes. And then the words. They tasted metallic, like blood. I just spat them out, a torrent, fast before I could stop them. My Uncle Robert, when I was 12, in the garage. He hurt me. He made me promise not to tell. Dr. Mitchell didn't flinch. She just nodded, listened, and then she said something that hit me harder than the truth itself. Sarah, that wasn't a secret you were keeping. That was a burden he forced you to carry. A burden, not a secret. He didn't just hurt me, he used me as his shield. The decision was terrifying. Confronting him? No, that was too easy, too explosive. I had to go through the earthquake first. I had to tell my parents. They were the foundation, the ones who loved him, the ones who needed him to be the good man. I was about to ask them to let go of a fundamental truth of their lives. I set the date. Sunday. Mother always makes roast chicken. A perfect, normal Sunday. The drive took 35 minutes. It felt like 35 years. I rehearsed it over and over, a million times. Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something important. No, too vague. It's about Robert. No, too accusatory. When I was 12, something happened in Grandma's garage. Robert hurt me. That was the line. Simple, brutal.
I drove past the turnoff, kept going for 2 blocks. My heart was a drum machine, failing. Go back. Protect them. Protect yourself. The silence is safe. I pulled over, sat there, hand hovering over the gear shift, the smell of exhaust and dried leaves. I saw my 12-year-old self in the rearview mirror, scared, silenced. I gripped the wheel until my arms shook. No more. I made the U-turn, drove back. They were so normal, so happy. It felt criminal. I stood there blocking the light until Dad finally looked up. Everything okay, sweetie? You look pale. I put the keys on the counter. The metal clatter sounded deafening. Mom, Dad, we need to talk now. We went into the den, closed the door. A final dreadful click. I didn't sit. I stood. The floor felt like it was tilting again. It's about Robert, Uncle Robert. My father's brow furrowed. What about him? 25 years ago, in Grandma's garage, he touched me. He threatened me. He made me promise not to tell. Silence. A vacuum. The television from the living room, the faint sound of a crowd cheering, suddenly seemed miles away. My mother's face crumbled first. She didn't cry. She just went utterly, completely blank. White. My father stood up. Fast. His big body rigid. What are you talking about, Sarah? That's not funny. Robert would never. He's my brother. The denial. It was like a slap. My own father. Instinctively protecting him.
I'm not lying, Dad. He told me he'd make sure you hated me. I was terrified. It's why I kept the secret. Then the tears came. My mother sank onto the couch, a low, wounded sound escaping her. Oh my God, Sarah, why didn't you tell us? The pain in her voice was real. The shock was real. Then came the awful questions. Did he do it more than once? Why now, after all this time? I answered everything, flatly, honestly. The garage, the threat, the years of silence. It hurt me to wound them, but the words were a cleansing fire. And then my mother, Carol, finally looked up, her eyes red, her voice broken. Sarah, honey, if you had just told us, we could have kept you safe. We could have stopped him. Kept you safe. Her words hit me. A revelation. A terrible, gut-wrenching truth. My silence hadn't kept my family safe. It hadn't protected them from pain. It had protected him. It had given him 25 more years of impunity. I looked at my weeping mother, my stunned, silent father. I knew this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. The foundation was shattered. The entire family needed to know. The whole world. We could have kept you safe, my mother's words. They echoed, twisted. No, you couldn't. Not while his secret was allowed to breathe. I looked at their faces, devastated, betrayed, but their devastation wasn't my burden anymore. It was his. The choice was clear. A quiet conversation with my parents wouldn't be enough. The poison had seeped into the roots. It had to be ripped out. I spent the next 3 days in a fog of fury and terror, planning, strategizing, like a corporate hostile takeover. But this was my family, my blood. I considered a family meeting, a face-to-face confrontation, but I couldn't control the narrative. Too easy for him to spin, to charm, to deny.
No. This needed to be unassailable, undeniable, a written account, clear, concise, brutal. The group email, the digital bomb. I drafted it a dozen times. Each word weighed, each sentence a potential shard. How do you tell the people you love that their beloved brother, their fun uncle, their respected in-law is a predator? I wrote it in the dead of night, my fingers shaking, my heart hammering against my ribs. The recipient list, my aunts, uncles, cousins, even some extended family friends who had always been part of the inner circle. About 30 people, all of them connected to Robert, all of them potential victims or unwitting enablers. My finger paused. This was it. The point of no return, the demolition charge. I closed my eyes, saw the garage again, felt the fear, heard his threat, and I pressed send. It was 4:17 a.m., October 27th, the day the world exploded. The immediate aftermath was a deafening silence. For an hour, 2, then the calls started. Text messages, emails, a deluge. My phone became a conduit of chaos. My parents called first. My mother hysterical. My father a low, furious growl. "Sarah, what have you done?" My Aunt Carol, Dad's sister. "Sarah, I just read your email. My God, I am so sorry. I believe you. I'm shaking." My cousin Mark. "What the F, Sarah? This is insane. Uncle Robert? No way. You've lost it." Another cousin, Jessica. "Is this true? My kids were just with him last weekend." Some believed me instantly, their texts filled with horror, apologies, questions of what can I do. Others defended him angrily. "Robert is a good man. You're making this up for attention. You're trying to destroy our family." The accusations, the vitriol, it poured in. Then his call. Uncle Robert. His voice was calm, controlled, the familiar, charming uncle voice, but edged with ice. "Sarah, what is this garbage you sent out? Are you unwell? You know this isn't true. You're going to destroy this family." He denied it. Every word, flatly. "Absolutely. I'm not lying, Robert. You know what you did. You think so, do you? Funny because I've already spoken to a few people. They all agree you're having some sort of breakdown. Stress from work, perhaps. People are worried about you, Sarah. Very worried." He was already working, spinning the narrative, turning them against me, making me the villain, the unstable one, the liar. The calls started drying up. The believers scared, the defenders emboldened. My phone, once buzzing, grew quiet.
I felt utterly, completely alone, cast adrift in the wreckage. Was I wrong? Had I destroyed everything for nothing? And then a message came through. Not a family member I directly emailed, someone from the periphery. My cousin, Nora. Robert's niece through his sister. My younger cousin. She was 10 when I was 12. Nora. "Sarah, I just heard what you wrote. The garage, the threat. It happened to me too. When I was 8. Please, tell me what to do." Nora, my little cousin, 8 years old. The same fear, the same silence. I wasn't a liar. I wasn't having a breakdown. I was the fuse. I messaged Nora back instantly, not with comfort, with facts. Where? When? Did he threaten you? I needed details. I needed armor. The conversations that followed over the next 48 hours were whispered, secret, tear-filled digital meetings across states and time zones, the survivors finding each other in the wreckage. First, Nora. She was frantic, relief warring with sheer, gut-deep terror. It was at the lake house, in the boathouse. He said if I told, they'd send him to jail, and my parents would never forgive me for ruining his life. The blueprint, the playbook, identical. He hadn't changed his tactic in 2 decades. Then came David, my second cousin, older than me. He reached out via email, professional and clipped, but the terror bled through. Sarah, I read your email. I never thought anyone else. It was in the basement, at the old cabin. I was 9. I suppressed it so hard I thought it was a dream. But the details, they match yours. The cabin, the basement, the garage. Always isolated spaces. Always the threat of shame and destruction. He wasn't a spontaneous monster. He was meticulous, calculated. We were 3. 3 wounds connected by the same poisoned thread. We were not the unstable ones. We were the evidence. We were the witnesses. The isolation shattered. The silence didn't belong to me anymore. It belonged to us. We spent days comparing notes, building a timeline. Piece by piece, the years of silent torment formed a monstrous, undeniable pattern. He had been hurting children in our family for longer than I had been alive. It wasn't just about the family any longer. This was a crime. The decision was collective, terrifying, empowering. We go to the police, I stated. My voice was firm, no longer trembling. We go together, David affirmed. Nora's voice, small but steady. Yes, I can't live with the fear anymore. Monday morning, we walked into the precinct, a cold, official building. No roast chicken smell here, just the hard facts of law and order. Giving the statement. The most humiliating, soul-bearing moment of my adult life. Saying the words not to a loving therapist, but to a uniformed officer, dictating them into a formal record. My shame became public record. But with every detail I shared, I felt lighter. The lead weight was transferring from my chest to the official file. I saw Nora and David do the same. Their faces drawn, their trauma laid bare. We were bonding in the trenches. There was no physical lineup. He was too connected, too popular in the community. But there was the chilling moment when the detective showed me a photo for formal identification. His face, smiling. The same triumphant arrogance I saw in the faded picture. I pointed. That's him. No hesitation. The investigation began instantly, quietly, discreetly. The police knew who he was, a pillar of the community. They were methodical. Then came the media, a low, persistent buzz. Local news outlets caught wind of a high-profile family investigation. We were anonymous, but the anxiety was a physical force. Every ring of the phone, every knock at the door. My father called me furious. Robert's lawyer called him. What in the name of God are you doing? They're going to charge him.
Charge him. That was the goal, but the waiting, the eternal suffocating wait. He was still out there, still denying, still twisting the knife. He was telling family members I had always been unstable, that I was jealous of his business success, that I was a liar seeking inheritance, and some were listening. I lost a sister-in-law. I lost 2 aunts. They chose his comfort over our truth. My parents were split. My mother torn, heartbroken, praying. My father clinging to the denial, defending his brother, while his daughter suffered. The tension was a taut wire stretched across my life. We had given our statements. The evidence was presented. We had given up our anonymity. We had survived the initial blast. Now we waited for the detonation, the warrant, the arrest. The moment we would stand in open court and face the monster we had kept silent for 25 years. It was coming. I could feel it in the air, the final reckoning. The wait was the hardest part, the silence after the explosion. But we weren't silent anymore. We had each other. We built a small, tight circle of truth in the center of the family's crumbling world. Then the final, earth-shattering notification. The headline. Simple, brutal. Local businessman arrested on multiple charges. The charges had been filed. Battery, sexual abuse of a minor, felony counts. The law had stepped in. Our private terror was now public matter. The family split instantly, cleanly, like a cracked pane of glass. My parents were forced to choose. My mother, finally, unequivocally, chose me. My father, clinging to decades of loyalty, chose his brother. He still believes I lied, that I destroyed him. That is his burden now, not mine. We didn't have to face a trial, not the full, grueling public spectacle. He broke. When faced with the weight of 3 separate, consistent accounts spanning decades, his lawyer advised him. His defense crumbled. He offered a plea, a formal, undeniable admission of guilt to the charges. I stood there when the judge delivered the sentence. It wasn't a confession to me. It was a formal acknowledgement by the system that I had told the truth, that we had told the truth. I watched the years of fear walk away in handcuffs. I didn't feel joy. I felt a heavy, deep, profound relief. The kind of silence that comes after a hurricane has finally passed. The work didn't end there. It started. The healing. I went back to Dr. Mitchell, but now we weren't treating anxiety. We were rebuilding a life. It was messy, painful. I had to learn to trust the smell of gasoline again. I had to learn that a hand on my shoulder wasn't the threat. I had to learn to let people in. I watched Nora. She went back to college. She started dating. She was still afraid, but now she was aware and she was safe. David, he started painting again. Art therapy. He told me, I finally feel like I own my own memories, Sarah, not him. We meet once a month, the 3 musketeers of the shattered family. We are each other's proof. We are each other's victory. The silence I kept for 25 years didn't protect my innocence. It enabled his crime. The noise I made, the emails, the police reports, the witness statements, that noise saved lives. It saved Nora. It saved David. It saved the next child. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is being so terrified you can barely breathe, but saying the truth anyway. That is the fiercest thing you can ever do. I lost a father that day. I lost half a family tree. But I gained back my soul. I gained back my voice. And I gained the strength to stand here today and tell you this. I am Sarah Grimm. I am 38 years old, and I am no longer silent. If this story stirred something in you, subscribe to Voices of Caitlin Grit for more raw, real stories of women turning pain into power. Like this video, share it with someone who still carries silence, and comment below,
I am no longer ashamed. Tell us your moment of bravery. You are not alone. I'll see you in the next one.